hey, how was this? And I'm like, I have no clue. And he's like, okay, well, here's what I think. And, we'll go out there, make a change, and it ends up being better. It's, yeah, he's definitely like probably one of the best I've met as far as like going around for that stuff.
Yeah, so he's not doing like David Villeman and like grabbing your bike and hitting the whoops in tennis shoes or anything?
No helmet?
No, he'll tell me how to do it. And he's like, well, if it was me, I'd do it this way. And it's like, yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah, that's a good person to have in your corner, though.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. And even like when I'm struggling on stuff, he's like, look, I've been there. I've done that. I know how these days go. It's just, building from there. And he goes, look, you think I was, perfect every day? He goes, back in my day, we had a lot of bad days. He goes, but it was just about countering it and finishing it off with a good day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I got a question for you. So going back to your first night show, lining up on that gate, how was that wow factor for you?
Yeah, so for this year, my first night show was Detroit, and it was kind of relief for me because I never made it through the heat race like that, and just like kind of know, now I'm not lucky, I kind of belong there. We had, and me and Ezra talked about it a good bit before. Like I should be there. There's no reason I shouldn't be. So it was kind of like I feel like I belong there, but feeling like it and belonging there is two different things. So definitely felt really good, and then I feel like it kind of boosted the confidence going into round two. So.
Right. Yeah, making that main in Arlington out of the heat race was not a given. That was a very intense battle for that transfer spot between you and Hardy Munoz and Brock Poppy, and you got the better end of it. But yeah, take us through that from your view, because we were watching it from the press box, and I'd been enjoying watching Munoz all day because he's entertaining. So yeah, what was it like? Go ahead.
100%. He's a sender. He sends stuff. But no, I mean, it was. I don't know. I started actually really good for the first time this season. I think I was in fifth, and I think I got shuffled back to sixth after the whoops. And then Bennett fell, and I didn't hit him, but I almost had to come to a stop because I was directly behind him. And then I got shuffled back to 10th. And then it was me and Pappy, and like I knew he was in 10th, but I didn't know Hardy was even like close to us, honestly. And then 2 turns to go before the white flag, I tried to stick a pass on Brock. And then I look under the triple, and Hardy's like a foot under me. And I thought, please, now it's the white flag. We're going to have a 3-way battle.
Yeah.
Then Hardy, I tried to kind of pass Brock, and Hardy passed me and almost passed Brock. And I'm like, I just went from 10th, almost transferring in to now having to pass 2 people on the white flag. Like, and then him and Hardy hit, and somehow me and Brock were side by side. And it was like, whatever you do not let up. Like, we got 3 turns left. You're getting into this main through the heat. And yeah, it was definitely a wild. Everything kind of happened so fast, especially on the last lap.
Yeah, I want to also ask you like what your expectations coming into the season were, and I'm going to ask that. But I also, when you look at your results, Detroit this year, you got 17th, and you were caught up in that first turn pileup, if I'm not mistaken. 15th in Arlington, and you ended up having a shock bolt that broke during the main. So both those results probably would have been a little better than what they were had those things not happened. But what were your expectations beginning the season?
Yeah, absolutely. And for round one, it was hard to really make an expectation. We expected to be in the main. As far as place, I could have told you this or that, but we really didn't know going in. And then, with the first turn pile up, which, I think Haymaker was out and a couple people, like I got pretty handed a 17th. It should have been better if I got up and actually rode right.
Mm-hmm.
But then coming back, we're like, dude, like just going through it, like I should be, if I can ride to my potential, we need to be, closer to the top 10. And then this weekend, I was running 14th when my shock bolt broke, and I got shuffled back to 15th. But my times were actually better there than Detroit. I think I was a second and a half off the leader, which is huge. Don't get me wrong, but that's way better than what I was in Detroit. So it's building,
Sure. And
then Daytona's coming up, which is probably one of my favorite tracks. I don't know if it's because it's more of a outdoorsy type layout, I guess, but. No, by the end of the season, I need to be inside the top 10, and that's kind of the goal we set from the beginning. It was just build our way into it and maintain it as long as we keep progressing. So,
got it.
Yeah, with the last year was your first year, so it was everything was new. Tracks, all dirt was different. Tracks were different. What was your favorite venue or track that you rode last year, and how have you adapted to them this year, knowing what you learned from them previously?
Favorite track last year was probably Daytona or Atlanta. I really like the speedway tracks. They kind of, I feel like, bring me back more to my outdoor roots, which is what I was a little bit better at in amateur stuff. And I feel a little more comfortable right now in outdoors. But no, I mean, just the learning from last year to take into this year was just how gnarly the tracks get. It's not even really, and I've told multiple people this, it's not that the tracks are like the layout itself gnarly. It's just how gnarly the track gets, how it breaks down, the ruts that form. Like, that's the stuff that catches you off guard. It's not that the 3 ends, super hard. It's the 3 ends hard when there's 14 ruts coming from the turn.
Yeah.
So it's just about getting, more comfortable and trusting it more and, sending them kind of stuff.
Yeah. I had a buddy with me this weekend watching the race and live, and it was the first time he'd ever seen a Supercross or anything. And when Jet made this mistake that he did where he hit the tough log, he was like, "That's a mental error, right? It's a mental error." I'm like, not. He could have caught a rut like a quarter of a millimeter on the wrong way, and it sent him that way. Like, it's so hard to tell from up in the stands what you guys do and then hitting those ruts. It's you can have it all, man. I'm good.
And honestly, like, the two mains that I've done so far this year, with the schedule swap,
yep,
the main event's been the best the track's been for us all day. Like in Arlington, I thought the track, I mean, obviously the whoops were pretty tough, but almost every turn was fixed. The rhythms were fixed. I mean, it felt like a normal free practice when we were first. Like, the track was great.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about, how the flip schedule. I know you only had a couple of races last year, but what do you think about the flip schedule, and like, what are your positive and negatives about it?
I mean, it's definitely tougher just because, when we get to the track by the first qualifier, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly. I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm a fan of it, but then again, I feel like it's a good thing too. It's good to ride the gnarly tracks and stuff. I feel like when the track's just wide open smooth, then there's not really much of a separator.
Right.
But the top 25 guys on rough tracks that are gnarly, like, I feel like that's what separates, the times a little bit more this year and makes it a little more challenging to get higher in qualifying.
Yeah. Gage, you mentioned riding for Firepower a little bit last year. You did some World Supercross for them too, right? How was that experience?
I did. Yeah, I did the first round for them in England.
And how was that experience? How'd you do? What'd you take away from it? It's probably a relatively new experience for you going overseas.
Yeah, no, that was the experience itself was great. No, I struggled a good bit there, but I was just coming off my thumb injury.
Yeah, you broke your thumb last year, right?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Yep.
I was coming off, I think, 2.5 weeks on the bike, and over there, I had to run like a little bit different setup than over here. And I don't know, I just really struggled throughout the day. And them guys are, we're talking 22 fast guys. So, if you're not, if you're not dotting your I's and crossing your T's, then it could go bad quick. And I didn't have a great round. But no, just wasn't ideal, I guess. But it was a great experience. It was great.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear.
Yeah, Gage, how was the culture and when you went overseas? Like, you definitely got a little bit of a southern draw there. I'm sure the British girls picked up on that and like that, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot different than South Georgia, that's for sure. But even, there's nothing I can say. It was a lot different than South Georgia.
That's fair.
It was pretty tough for me, like, just the food and stuff over there. Like, they have way different food than we have, over here, and just learning that and flying in, being jet lagged was a lot different for me. And it's different than, a 2 or 3 hour jet lag.
Yeah. Let's close this out. I got a couple Vital MX forum questions for you from a couple of our forum members. One Wheel Wheaties wants to know what it's like. He wants to hear your thoughts on the transition from amateur to pro. Do you feel amateur races adequately prepare you for Supercross? And I know you did a futures round too. So but was the transition from amateurs to pros an easy one?
For me, no, it was not. But no, I only did one futures race. But now that the futures are how they are now, I think that it's way better than, what it was before me. And even the year I did, before I did futures, we had they called it futures, but they cut the track way down.
What? Oh, I thought, okay.
But
So it wasn't last year then. What year did you do futures?
The year before last, right?
Year before last.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I apologize.
No. Actually, it was last year. I did A2 right before I turned pro.
That's what I thought. Yeah, 7th.
Yeah, you're right. It was last year.
Okay.
But no, now that futures is around, I think it's a way better, understanding for amateurs turning pro, because they get to see the track, see how it forms, and other than, going out and just doing straight outdoors, straight into Supercross, because that's you're talking night and day difference.
Sure.
But no, I definitely think now that the jump from amateurs to pros is a lot better than what it has been.
Okay. Last question from Jaybird. He says, I'd like to hear what Gage has to say about his privateer team, which is Dirt Bike Depot. It seems like a good group of guys around you. Tell us how that came about and just to give us a little information on the team.
Yeah, no, Max actually hit me up. It would have been probably 3 months before the opener. And told me, hey, we did a little bit of stuff last year, but we're looking to greatly improve, our team, our riders, and stuff like that. And, I jumped aboard, and it's been great ever since. I'd say, looking at it, from as far as, we don't have an 18-wheeler, of course, but
Sure.
We have a van and a trailer, but we set up like an 18-wheeler. Our setup's great. The team sponsors are great. The team's great atmosphere around us. And that's really all you can ask for. The atmosphere is great. So it's just about having the right kind of people around you.
Yeah, I'm sure it makes the process of race day a little easier, having a group of people around that can help rather than just doing it out of your van by yourself, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. The full privateers who show up in the van, I feel for them. It's hard.
Yeah.
I had to do it at 2 outdoors round, and man, it's tough. At least now, Max helps out with whatever, he preps our goggles, and
nice.
Jack and the whole team kind of is there for everybody. So it makes it a lot easier than being fully by yourself.
Good to hear. Gage Linville brought to you tonight by Blood Lubricants. Well, Gage, I want to see you improve on your results at Daytona. You got to go out there and just pin it, bro. Pin it.
Absolutely, that's the plan. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man. We'll keep up with you and watch the rest of your season, and we'll get you on again as it gets closer to the end and see how things are going.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Gage. Have a good night, man.
You too.
All right, see you. Gage Linville, brought to you by Blood Lubricants. Man, you got to feel for the privateers, working their butts off, probably not making a ton of money, but doing it because they love it. Not a lot of support. You know all about that.
They know properly not making no money.
That's good stuff. Appreciate him coming on. We're going to jump into the ProX highs and lows. We're going to get Michael Lindsay on for just a moment because he wants to talk about he was at the Triumph intro. So we want to get his thoughts on that. ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro Yamaha, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They have been supplying quality components for almost 50 years. From complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets, ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. Find ProX at your local dealer or visit prox-usa.com and search for the parts for your bike today. I got some parts coming for my Yamaha. I ordered some oil filters, chains, and sprockets, some wear parts. So thanks to ProX. Who wants to do the ProX highs and lows first?
I'll go ahead.
All right, Scotty, knock it out.
So the highs were that I got to, go to the Supercross. It was some of the stuff we've been talking about. Take new people, let them experience that, and just the racing was good, and just being out there and tailgating and everything was a lot of fun. Also seeing Beast Mode from Tomac was definitely on my highs.
And meeting Lewis.
That was maybe one of my lows.
Wow. He's listening right now, and he hates you.
Shots fired.
He hates you even more than ever.
Yeah, I know. I hate you the way you set that up. You made me look like a geek.
So that's your low?
Yeah, that dark side made me look like a geek.
Your low is that you look like a geek.
No, my low was
can't help how he looks.
My low was Fortner, man. That was so deflating. Like,
yeah,
it was like, man, this is his championship. To go from like, hey, he's got complete control, 16-point lead, to just being picked up off the floor, man. That was God. We talked about it. It was gut wrenching.
One of our listeners on the live chat, Anthony Roncone, said his high was, and I guess I didn't catch this during the show, said his high was when Ricky was saying colonoscopy instead of cornucopia.
I think that might have been on the Pulp show.
Oh.
Because I saw a comment somewhere in the YouTube chat. It was like, what was he trying to say?
Oh.
I bet that's what he's talking about. I don't think that was on the
Anthony,
race.
Let us know.
That would have been hilarious if it was on the race.
Colonoscopy.
Yeah. You want to do yours?
Yeah, my low is I'm still looking for a job. No.
I don't think you're really looking.
That's true. No, but they my high was actually nothing to do with the race. I had an absolute blast riding this weekend. You know, just riding and having fun. Pit bikes, of course. And
the guy that always said, man, I just want to ride with my buddies. My buddies never want to ride with me. We all went to one place and you went somewhere else.
Hold on. Who brought up riding in the group message first?
Oh, I have no idea. I just remember sending a message where
I'm going to Madden. Does anybody want to go?
Yeah, but nobody wanted to go there.
Well, y'all suck. So moving on.
Josh Hill really made that place. He rode there a lot.
He rode there once.
A lot in one day. Well, they've been posting it a lot. Like, I've seen it multiple times. So I guess they're just using it to.
So, anyways, Madden MX. I did it again. I was such a dick.
No, you're right. I interrupted. That was on me.
I'm trying not to be an asshole. I need good karma.
It's really hard.
It is. Madden MX Playground. Check it out on Instagram. It's one of the most original places that I've ever ridden. And until we have another track sponsor, that's going to be the sponsor in my heart. But anyhow,
fair.
And my low was not what he said or what he did, but how it came across with Deegan on the podium.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to hold it against him. Y'all know I'm not always easy.
You're not a huge fan.
I'm not a fan, but it's just that actually looked bad on him, and I genuinely don't think he meant it.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, he never said one specific thing that was really that bad, but just like the overall
danger
taste,
zone thing made me want to punch him in the face.
The aftertaste on it was not good.
Before we go to Jeremy and me, Jason Henninger sent. It's actually, I think this was for last week. But anyway, my ProX highs and lows this week go like this. My low was seeing Mr. Guida got beat by FMIP's buddy on a dinosaur dirt bike, which I told you guys about that in the IT. Yep. That was not exactly a highlight. I'd kind of forgotten about it, Jason. Keep pushing that out. Thanks a lot, butthole. And my high is Kenny Roxon winning Glendale. Still pumped about that. He is a legend. Cheers, boys. Thank you. Yep.
Anthony said it was Pulp Show.
Yeah. Jeremy, what are your highs and lows? ProX highs and lows.
All right, so
ProX?
I'm a high. Let's see here. I'm going to go a little personal on this one. I've been waiting for this moment for 5 years. It's taken a little bit for my son to kind of catch on for moto, and just seeing how nuts he was going during the races. That was my all-time high.
That's cool.
And then I guess seeing Fortner go out, because I don't really see anybody else kind of having the speed for a season long. They stay with, I guess, Deegan. Yeah. And, I know Max is fast, but I don't know if he can keep it together for all the rounds. And then McAdoo, in my opinion, he has the speed. We all know he's going to go balls out.
Easy.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. There's a top 5 joke right there. Could have used that.
Yeah.
That could be on there.
Oh, my wife's going to love that one. But, I just don't see anybody else staying that consistent. And I think Fortner was that guy.
Yeah.
All right.
So bummed.
Very easily, I could say my highs were the racing in general, and the lows were the injuries. But I'm going to say got to meet a lot of cool people at Arlington. I saw 3 of my shirts, so that was pretty cool. Just people
randomly.
Just people that listen to the show, that kind of stuff. All that is always a high. I really enjoy meeting people that like what we're doing and like what's going on at Vital. But honestly, the highlight of the weekend probably was the press box hang. Me, Lewis, and Kellen just had a really good time. The 3 of us We're kind of our normal group. We're the only ones really there.
No Steve?
No Matt, no Mathis, which that's another one of my highs.
So were you holding court?
Yeah, there was no holding court because everybody's equal.
Somebody holding court.
It was just it was us all just being equals and enjoying the night.
Yeah, it sounds like without the judge there, that all the bailiffs and juror were just hanging out and having fun.
The other highlight that kind of has to do with that, Mathis did not show up at the race this weekend.
That's a highlight.
No, not. I like it when Steve's there, but so far every round, we've heard him talk about dressing a little nicer in his Alpine Star jacket.
Yes.
And, Race Day Live. I'm going to be on Race Day Live this year. They've told him that. So I went early Saturday morning straight into the TV truck. I asked Bondo.
Hold on one second. Yep. Listeners, you can't tell Steve this. Everybody, y'all are now on it.
It's fine. He's going to find out.
He's going to find out, but let's just keep this inside joke.
It'd be nice if we could keep it quiet until I have a chance to tell him.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I went in and asked Bondo. I said, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" And he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" As soon as you go live today, please text or call Steve, because he's not here, and say, "Hey, we have a spot open for Race Day Live." And Bondo did, and Weeds got involved with it. And JT were all like, "Hey, man, yeah, we got kind of playing it up." At some point midday, there was a Pulp listener that was mad that Steve wasn't there. So I took a picture of the guy, giving Steve the middle finger. I sent it to Steve. Steve responds, "Yeah, great day. Race Day Live wanted me on today. I'm not there." So he bought in.
100%.
And if you listen to the Pulp Show last night, at the end of the night, he still thinks it was a real
He doesn't
invite.
listen to our show either, so we can keep it going.
Yeah, but I'm sure somebody will end up ruining it.
No, don't ruin it. Keep it going.
But that was a highlight. I feel like I got Steve really good.
Yeah.
So that was one of my highs.
I think my favorite part of that is it's still ongoing.
Yeah, that's still going. Absolutely. Anytime we can kind of mess with him because, we know that he messes with me all the time.
One of the 745 Moto fans says Steve already knows about being thrown under the bus.
Thrown under the bus?
That's what he says. So maybe he knows already now.
Well, he didn't know last night.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
So I don't know. Well, we got another guest on, so let's get right to it. Michael Lindsay, how's Florida?
Oh, it's great. I'm sitting in the lobby of the Hilton University of Florida in Gainesville. We're here for the Triumph launch. I actually just went in and had dinner with Jeff Stanton, Ivan Cervantes, and a few guys. They're our American waves over. We hung out here for another day, so I just met a bunch of French. There's a wave leaving of like Italians and Swiss guys from today, and then there was a bunch of French journalists coming in for tomorrow's wave on the Triumph.
Well, so I know you were on pole last night, and I haven't had a chance to listen. So for those that haven't, what can you tell us about how was the experience? It was a one-day format. How's the bike? I know you had a great time visiting with Stanton and all the people, but tell us what you want to tell us about Triumph. How was it? What do you think?
So cool part. We did pull the riding reviews haven't come out. So ours, MXA's, Racer X, all of them dropped at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So all those are up on YouTube. We've got a 23-minute video on it, and there's not a single piece of fluff. I have that much to say, but overall, hands down, beyond every person I talked to was the same boat yesterday, beyond impressed. I mean, for a brand that's never produced an off-road motocross bike, they produce, their tire line stuff, their adventure bikes, but they never produced a motocross bike. If you put random plastic on that bike, told me to go ride it, and then came back and go, what is this? I would look at it and go, I don't know what brand this is, but they've been making dirt bikes for 30 years or something. Fit, finish, quality of everything. I have nitpicky stuff I would do to the bike, but I don't have negative.
Wow.
And I'm I thought there'd be something whether it was somewhere I would just be they're kind of far behind here, but they're good here. But every person I talked to the same boat, we all had little things we were nitpicking on, any bikes, but there's established brands that have more drawbacks with their current bikes than this thing. It's not. My favorite part was the chassis. I wouldn't say particularly there's anything about the bike that is oh my God, it is absolutely dropping this. But if you took all the aspects of this bike and had a scaling system of 1 to 10, I'd get everything a 7 to an 8, basically. It's just super soft across the board.
So fair to say your expectations were exceeded?
Yes. And honestly, cool experience. They have so much of the British staff over here that are involved in designing this bike. For a brand that, and everybody's giving us slack for being so secretive. However, they completely flip the page on us. What the script on here is, I've never dealt with an OEM that has been so open to answering my questions. Tech presentation, I laid out a couple difficult ones, that normally I would never get answers to, and they would answer whatever I want, show me whatever tech drawings I want, explain everything made, explain why they did everything, what the timelines were, what hype, what they did across the entire range, and all the people that were there that need to answer were there, including even like Rob, the guy from the U.S. CEO or U.S. President, explained to me basically how he pitched the whole project to the family that owned it, and getting Ricky involved, like how quick they had an answer that they're making it. Everybody had the exact date written down and what date they thought that they'll make this thing.
Nice, yeah. It seems like, again, I think maybe you mentioned this last night on Pulp, but the little bit that I heard, and I was kind of talking to Travis Souls about this. I feel like Triumph has come in more prepared and with a better game plan than maybe Beta did, and who knows about Ducati, but it just feels like Triumph came to play for sure.
Now listening, like understanding everything they're spending money on, yeah, a lot of people like, oh, they didn't spend, like they look at probably like a Swole and a Ferry combination. Joe, and even, I've been skeptical, or not skeptical, but questioning, like, man, they really didn't go get this guy or that guy. And I get it, everybody has their question marks, but now after seeing and hearing what they've got going on in their long-term investment and realizing every piece of the puzzle they put together, they have built a hellacious base. Like, they are so committed, it blows my mind. I really was kind of questioning like what their motivation was to do this. And I had some theories, and they did confirm that some of why they want to make their bike matches up with some of the market reasons I thought they would, but there's a lot more to it than I realized. Again, just in investment, these guys have spent an ungodly sum of money to get to where they are and set up